So a lot of the nymphing that we do here just in local rivers is pretty deep down in the water column, especially in the wintertime. So what we have here is a nylon furled leader, which I like to use for the deep nymphing. This is made by Cutthroat Leaders. This is a 76-inch reinforced nylon leader. This is just what we had on handy for us for the video. Usually what I use is a 50-inch nylon leader. And you can use a fluorocarbon leader as well too. Fluorocarbon's going to sink a little bit better than nylon, but I personally like doing the nylon leaders. So what you're going to do to set this leader up for just regular deep style kind of nymphing, where we're using a split shot or maybe a heavy stonefly, is first we want to obviously get our leader untangled. The first thing that you're going to notice is that these leaders just don't have much memory at all. You don't have to finagle them out of the pack or anything like that, which is kind of nice. Let's start out with some 4X tippet, and we're going to get ourselves a short length of 4X tippet. Doesn't have to be very long, maybe 2 feet, 2.5 feet, and you're going to go ahead and just get it attached to your nylon leader by your tippet ring, just with a regular clench knot. Very simple to do. Set up your clench knot. Once you've got your clench knot set up, we're going to set up a stopper for our weight. And this is important, especially when you're deep nymphing. In some of our other videos, I've stated that I personally don't use weights on my flies. All my flies are tied unweighted, and I use split shot to get my flies down in the water column. So what I'm going to do is, because the fly that I'm going to be tying on, is congruent to 4X, we're just going to tie a length of 4X tippet onto the 4X tippet that we've already tied on to our furled leader. You can do this by just doing a double surgeon's knot. I just did a single surgeon's knot here, but do a double surgeon's knot or a triple surgeon's knot, whatever you choose. And then what you want to do is, you want this length, after you tie these two pieces of tippet in, to be about 18 inches, because that's where you're going to want your split shot to be as far as lengthwise away from your first point fly. So you can see here, we've tied two lengths of 4X tippet together to make a little knot there for a stopper. This is where you're going to put your split shot. That way your split shot can't slip down that tippet, and it's going to stop right at that knot there. Then what we can do is go ahead and set up our standard just double nymphing rig. You're going to put your point fly on, then drop another piece of tippet off to your dropper fly. So that's how I like to do for deep nymphing. And then as far as the furled leader goes, you can just take any kind of indicator that you like. The pinch-on ones will work good. I know I personally like using the small thingamabobbers. Put the thingamabobber on there. It easily fits on this furled leader. It doesn't slip and slide, and that's how you can do a deep nymphing rig with that. Now for shallow water situations, which you can find yourself a lot in the spring, summertime, where the fish are still feeding on nymphs or emergers, but they're not on top, we like to use a thread furled leader. This is Cutthroat Leader's nymph leader. This is a 50-inch high vis. You don't need to use an indicator on this one, which is really nice. This has a length of really high visible thread that you can see here. What you do is you just use a paste floatant to grease this up, and this will float on the rest of the water. Well, the rest of this leader will actually sink. It has a really good sink rate. For these, you don't need to do two pieces of tippet stacked together with a stopper if you don't want to. Sometimes, depending on how deep the fish are, especially when we're fishing out at the Owyhee, where you don't really have a very deep river at most parts, you can do that, tie the tippet together with a double surgeon's knot and put on a little teeny BB, because that won't sink the leader, but it'll help you get your flies down a little bit deeper in the water column. But here all we do is just do a fisherman's knot, a clinch knot onto the tippet loop here, and then just do an unweighted fly, maybe a size 16 or 18, just unweighted nymph, and then drop another unweighted, like a midge or something like that, off the back of that. Being as there's no weight, it won't pull the leader down, and it'll be really sensitive when you're getting those strikes as well too. So there's 2 setups that you guys can use for nymphing and frilled leaders. Save yourself some money. These leaders will last you a year to 2 years instead of constantly buying, knotless taper leaders throughout the year. You can save yourself a lot of money using these. We really like using them because we're broke. So 2 ways that you guys can nymph with frilled leaders. If you guys have any questions, be sure to email us at keepersoftheriver@gmail.com, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.